States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for having us. So we just wanted to let you know how things are going and what services we're offering here at Narragansett. So we have a variety of school-based services across Haywood, and a number of them are here for students at Narragansett. So as you know, Narragansett was one of our first locations where we piloted our program. So we've been here a number of years, and we're quite happy that everything has been very successful. So we started our program with a number of grants. So we had a trial grant we started back in 2017. So it's been a number of years. So we are not a COVID reason that we're here. We started Tela long before anyone knew what we were talking about. When we would mention Zoom, no one knew what I meant in 2017. And then lo and behold, everyone knows what Zoom is. So we've been here quite a while, and we're continuing our sustainability plan. We have a number of services which I will go over next for you. So we are doing a whole child approach to wellness. So that's what makes our model a bit unique, in the sense that we do have some teleservices, but we also have some in-person services available here at the school. So we're looking at the whole child approach of wellness. Besides working with the school, we're also working with community providers, we're working with medical, we're working with the families and the students in connecting all those pieces. So it's a very important piece to fill the rural gap in this, the gaps we have in our rural area. So the types of referrals that are made, we have our behavioral health referrals. So we have a teleclinician that can work with students. Anxiety is probably one of the highest referrals that we receive, but academic stress, family dynamics, self-harm, emotional substance use as well. We do have a substance use specific treatment program available for students. Mentoring, we also have a mentor which will meet with students as well, and our mentor will help with goals, wellness, relationships, managing the stress of school, getting a job, volunteering, all those different things as well. And then we also have our community health workers who help with community resources. So again, connecting all those pieces in the community together. And that's what we find really important. So our youth telebehavioral health program is not only located here at Narragansett, but it's located at several schools across the region. I'm going to let Heather talk about, Heather is our community health worker here, and I'm going to let Heather kind of talk about the uniqueness of her position and what a community health worker does here at Narragansett.
Hi, thanks for having me. So as the community health worker, I don't know if you're familiar with my offices, but it's right outside of the guidance in the hallway, which is a perfect location because when I have students seeing the clinician in my office, I'm typically found in the guidance office. I can assist as needed. Sometimes, as we know, that office gets very busy. I think the best part of my job in being here is the visibility. I'm here during all the school hours. You start to develop a rapport, with the students, especially frequent flyers. And we might catch certain things that maybe a teacher didn't notice, maybe guidance didn't notice. There was one time where there was a student standing in guidance, and people were doing some other things, and he was just waiting. And I struck up a conversation, and he was turning in his Chromebook, and he was withdrawing from school. And so I started that conversation, like, oh, what are your plans? And just that, maybe 5-minute interaction. I gave him the information for a mass hire. I gave him my card, and I said, even if you're not a student here, please, reach out if I can be of any assistance. So sometimes it's just kind of being in the right place at the right time. Students have come to me where they've been concerned that their family doesn't have health insurance anymore. So I've been able to work with them, get a release from them, and talk to the parents and connect them with the right people to help them a little bit more with that. Other things, we have some students that no longer live at home, and now they're 18, but they're still seniors and they're not sure where to go. So I've been able to connect them with family partners. So it's really just a lot of, thinking outside of the box. Like, what else could this student maybe need? They're excited because they've got their permit. Great, like, oh my gosh, that's fantastic. And just a brief conversation of, like, oh, are you working? And no, I've tried and I haven't been hired. So, hey, send me your resume. Like, I'm happy to look over it. So whatever I can do, I'm always happy to do. And it's great because I think that makes the kids feel like there is another adult, even though they have a great guidance team. This school is amazing. It's like that one extra person that had more time because I'm not in guidance and I'm not a teacher. So it's been great and it's really rewarding. And that being said, I work closely with the clinician. I can help as a liaison between guidance and the clinician. So really, it's almost like whatever is needed, I'm happy to help. So thank you again for having me here. I love the school. I've only been here, this was my first year here, and it's been wonderful, and it's an amazing school, and I wish I had known how amazing, so I probably would have school choice to one of my children, but really, it's an eye-opening experience, and the support, I think that I've seen everyone give to each other and to the students is just amazing. So thank you for having me.
So as Heather mentioned, we have counseling services available, and Heather works very closely with our teleclinician. So the clinician is actually not in person here at the school. They are remote, but Heather is kind of the boots on the ground, and she's the person who's here in person. So again, that's that kind of, whole child approach to wellness that fits. So our individual therapy normally lasts about 45 minutes. We work with a student schedule not to pull them from one of their core classes. We look at like what would make sense, so we don't want anyone to miss anything really important. Heather does a lot of communications with teachers to say so-and-so is going to be pulled from class tomorrow. So if there is something going on, we can rearrange ahead of time. We're not scrambling the day of. So there's a lot of communication between Heather, the guidance team, as well as all the teachers as well. We also provide ACRA, which is Adolescents Community Reinforcement Approach. So it's specifically for students who have mental health as well as substance use issues. So it's much more of a limited program. It's not a traditional therapy program, but it is there to help kids who might have some substance use issues or might be leaning in that direction, and maybe we can stop it before it happens. So that's something that we offer as well here. So that's unique to this site specific. One of the things we realized as we've done this over the years, there's a lot of ways that we can engage with kids remotely, and I know that comes up a lot. Like, how do you do therapy with somebody if you're not in the room with them? There is a lot. I mean, first off, youth are used to talking to people through a screen, so for them it was very comfortable. And we'll find, like, when the parents come in, they're yelling, and you don't have to yell, but it's okay. So we do a lot of sharing of screens, so we can share. There's a whiteboard where they can play games and interact, but there's also sharing TED Talks. What's your favorite video? YouTube videos, different things like that. So there's ways to connect with a student even if you physically are not in the room with them. They often, if somebody's not in the mood to talk, there's the option to use the chat feature, so they can just do the chat feature if they don't want to talk that day. Again, we offer 45-minute sessions. Sometimes they don't last 45 minutes. If they last a half an hour. Heather may have somebody who comes down and says, I have nothing to talk about today. I'm not coming. And Heather will say, well, why don't you do like 15 minutes? Just pop in, and next thing we know, 45 minutes later, they're leaving the room. So sometimes it's that, again, having that community health worker to kind of help makes things work really well to get those kids into services. We also have a mentor here. So the mentor program is unique. It's not related to insurance. There is no cost. It is a short-term mentor program. It's 4 to 6 sessions, and it's really working one-on-one with students to help with goals, any stressors, things like that. And it may be students who are at risk of using substances and just are a little unsure if they want to do treatment for it, and the mentor might be like the first stepping stone to connect and kind of build that relationship with students. The other piece we also have is the I Decide program, which is a drug education curriculum intervention and diversion program. It's a mouthful. So I Decide is for students who are caught like vaping in school. So if they have some sort of situation where they've been using substances in school, they could do the I Decide program instead of taking being suspended for numerous days. And this is like an education program that you have to go to and learn. And then again, it could be a stepping stone into Project AMP Mentor. It could be a stepping stone into ACWA. So again, all these services are all interconnected. And then as Heather talked about, we have our support services. So Heather provides a lot of the community resources support, and that's what she was kind of giving you some examples of the numerous things that she's done over her school year here so far. And then we do a lot of outreach in the community. So we sit on a lot of coalitions, systems of care, and so that we're in the loop on all the different services and opportunities to connect our families to help. All our referrals come basically through the guidance team. Some of them come through admin, but it's pretty much, we've made the paperwork pretty easy because we all love paperwork. So we've made it quick and simple, and the guidance team may do a soft handoff, and then Heather takes it from there. So she's the point person who gets all the referrals no matter what they're being referred for. So we have one point person, everyone knows to go to Heather. Heather will distribute it from there. So we're trying to make it as simple and easy for staff, not to put an extra burden on them. So we've seen some great improvements. As I said, we've been here for years at this point. So we've seen increased school attendance, academic performance, relationship building is a big part of what we're watching grow with our students. Positive behaviors, self-esteem, self-confidence, social integration, and self-harm as well. Eliminating self-harm is important. So this school year, so from July until March, we have worked with 156 students and families. So it's been a great year. Unfortunately, we do have a wait list, like everybody, for teletherapy right now. Ours isn't horrible. It's 12 students right now on the wait list, but we do have a wait list currently. But we've done 929 telesessions here at school. So that just gives you, like, kids are following through, they're coming. Those are sessions that happen, not cancellations or anything like that. So people are connecting, they're using the service, and I'm very proud of that number. For this team has done an amazing job connecting with the students. Our mentoring and I Decide program they've met with 33 students, which is great, and we have 8 currently on the wait list. And Heather's done 56 additional community resource referrals for the examples that she gave you earlier. So coming soon, not here yet, we are going to have a telemed cart. So we will have a telemed cart here at the school. So the cart is unique. So we've rolled it out at a couple spots, and you're all next on the list to get a cart. So basically the cart is, you can go to the next slide, there's a picture of it. So basically the cart is set up that, similar to if you've been in the hospital and you see and they have the carts and the rolling carts, similar, they'll be able to, the nurse here at the school will be able to contact one of our nurse practitioners, and our nurse practitioner will get on the screen. They'll be able to, they can look in their throat, they can look down their ears, and they can see everything. So again, a parent's not having to come pick up their child, pull them out of school, go and sit at urgent care in the emergency room. It's trying to cut down on some of that as well, because we know transportation's a problem, attendance is an issue. So we're trying to bring the services to where the kids are at. So this is something, if a child needs a prescription, our nurse practitioner can call that in. They'll do a follow-up with their primary care doctor and the family afterwards. So again, it's taking a lot of that hustle and bustle that parents have to do all the time off the table and have it happen here at school. So that's coming soon. The Brookline Center is currently who's funding a lot of the programs here. So they've been a great partner for us, as well as the Department of Public Health. They're funding more of the programs I talked about that work with substance use and connecting with that as well. So that's it. Do you have any questions or anything?
Madam Chair, if I may. So honestly, I happen to have been here when it all started, and I can say that now. And when actually it was John Sullivartis who wrote the grant initially, and or helped write the grant or provide the information, I remember folks saying, well, kids are just not going to, they're just not going to feel comfortable, doing any type of therapy, counseling, etc., again, over the computer, and it's just going to be, a bust. Well, even before COVID, I do have them somewhere, but I remember that we, I think, grew exponentially over a period of 3 or 4 months, where we had a wait list where we were trying to find another, then the middle school was looking to, open this up. So it has been wildly successful. It's sad that it has to be so successful. We understand that. But there's a need, and we're able to provide our kids, a service that a lot of parents are struggling to find anywhere. And since it can happen at school, it takes a lot of the guesswork of trying to, how am I going to get someone to an appointment, takes the guesswork out of it. So it's been great, and they've been great partners. We're waiting for the med cart, because I plan on going down regularly just to get a checkup, just to make sure I'm doing all right. Just to make sure, because it's important. But that'll be the next phase of it, and we've already heard from parents who are like, are you kidding me? You mean I can just literally have son or daughter go down and without any type of worry about insurance, I believe. I want to make sure that I say that correctly, at least, and not having to sit in line. It's going to be great. So it's been a fantastic partnership.
And I do tell people you kind of get like a 2-for-1 deal, because you are getting more than just a therapist. If you went somewhere else, you're getting Heather, you're getting a community health worker, you're getting a mentor, you're getting a lot. So that coordination of care, I think, is what makes this program so successful, and it wouldn't be successful without people like Heather. So I do think it's a big part of it, that our model is a bit unique from your traditional going to another agency and getting services.
Any other questions, comments from the committee?
I just want to say thank you. I mean, I think it's wonderful what we're providing. I do have a question about the referrals. Can referrals be given to Heather when school is in session, or is it just?
Great question. So yes, we are a year-round program. So even though we are a school-based program, we do continue through the summer. So we do continue to offer services throughout the summer. Heather is still on board during the summer. Our mentor is still here during the summer. We try and come up with some activities for kids to do as well, some alternatives. But we are still running throughout the summer. And school vacations as well. We're still doing sessions during April vacation. We're still doing sessions over Christmas break. We're still working. You're welcome.
So I just wanted to say thank you as well. One other question for you is this something that you ever worked with elementary schools on, or is this a very specific program for middle and high school?
So we have traditionally stayed from 6th grade up. We have found that when you kind of go a little below that, it's hard to keep that child engaged in the room without another person in there. So we have taken some 5th graders, but we don't take a lot. Again, I think the role of a community health worker, we've had community health workers come and sit in the room and play a game to kind of keep the child occupied and keep the conversation going. I didn't mention that all of our rooms are set up not to feel like you're at school. We try and make them somewhat comfortable. So there's games in there, there's fidgets, there's art supplies, there's a lot of things. And if someone says they're interested in something, we'll come up and we'll try and get it in there for them. So we had somebody who wanted to do origami, so we got origami papers. So things like that. So they're not just sitting and looking at a screen. They have stuff to do, they can engage. But we do find that younger age group tend to work better with in person.
And that makes sense. It looks like a wonderful program, and certainly as kids get older, they become more capable of interacting with adults and not needing the family and that kind of comfort benefits. What you're doing is wonderful for our community. We're very lucky to have you. I'm so glad that you've been part of the program since 2017. Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate you. You are welcome to stay for the next interview. I would certainly understand if you should stay.
Thank you.
For taking the time out of your day, especially in
Not a problem. We love being here, so we're happy to be here. So thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Continuing with our agenda tonight, we have our student representative here.
So, for upcoming events, I'm just going to mention that the Wizard of Oz musical is going to be shown Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 7, and that tickets are $15 each. Still going to buy mine. I'm going with my friend on Friday. Tuesday, May 9th is going to be the Honor Society induction ceremonies. It's going to be English Honor Society, National Honor Society, and National Music Honor Society. And the officers, we all just got our strips for the ceremony. So for English Honor Society, we're going to do a bingo for books, but for the middle school. It's going to go throughout the school day, sometime in May or April. And there's a lot of different, since there's a lot of events going on in high school, we figured if we can get to the 5th and 6th grade for one of these events. So that would be great. Since it's coming to the end of the school year, with the early college classes are ending, the next 2 weeks is like the last classes for that. Started right before break, we had to give an informative speech, which is basically like an argument, and it had to be 8 to 10 minutes. We also had to conduct a survey, and we have over 20 people in it, and we'll include that data in the survey. So mine was on whether or not we should fund NASA, and continue to fund it. Others were on whether or not, why Apple is better than Samsung, why you should wear sunscreen year-round, and why senior cats should be adopted. And our final speech, which is going to be Tuesday, is on who our hero is. So that's
sophomore. The sophomore class.
Tread and water. Yep, tread and water, we're holding our own at the moment, so as long as we continue at this pace, we'll slide in the home base.
Did you want to say anything about fiscal year 24 as well?
Well, I would say that this is the week that amendments are presented or discussed, argued, wherever, at the state level. There's something like 1,100 of them, and I believe 60 or so are educationally focused. As you can imagine, many of them are bills to increase Chapter 70 and/or circuit breaker and/or that kind of thing. So with our partners, through Mars, the regional group, Julie Kelly, who is the person who is the watchdog, we'll know as soon as if something should break one way or another for schools. She lets us know. So there's really nothing at this point in time. We haven't had an update. I don't think.
They put out a new cherry sheet.
Oh, they did. Yep.
Like last week, the week before. Yep.
To reflect
They're
the-
proposing trying to fund transportation 100%, which is excellent. Yep, we will take it. We'll take whatever they give us.
And just important, because I'm sure, with the hundreds of viewers who are interested in such things, just as a reminder, that's great. We're very happy, the 100%. It's on last year, right? It's always in the rear. So I always want to make sure that it's not as if, because they don't know no one knows what our transportation costs are going to be, because we haven't done.
Finished FY23
We haven't
yet.
finished FY23. And as a reminder, we're only talking about the yellow buses, not sped transportation, right? That's all that usually comes up. People think it's the entire thing, and it's not. Every year, we just like to kind of throw that out there when they talk about that, so.
Our business manager's report.
Like I said, general fund is holding its own. The grants are getting spent down, and we had talked about the possibility of a mental health grant for next year, but that we didn't get awarded that, so that isn't happening. Hopefully, there'll be some other opportunities that can maybe provide some of those same services they were anticipating, but right now, that's no go.
We also want to thank folks who work on our end, a lot of work goes into this.
Yes.
It's always disappointing to sort of get the release that the work is huge. We now have our school choice recommendation, so Dr. Callahan, I will
Okay.
pass it over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair. So, this is the time of year that the committee, as you know, votes whether or not to, as the district, to accept school choice. Just as a reminder, you cannot vote to not send students school choice. That's a parent's right. That was asked of us a couple of years ago. So if no vote is taken, it defaults, it simply defaults that you, I believe it's to the affirmative, but you would take school choice. So my recommendation are as I do every year, the committee requests, where are their openings? Like where, if in fact school choice students are going to be accepted into the district, where can they fit? You know, so I'm prepared to talk about that very briefly here tonight. It's useful for the central office and for the parents. They're trying to make plans. We're actually trying to make plans to figure out what numbers are going forward. So if I might, what I would say right off the bat is that at this point in time, we couldn't possibly accept any students pre-K through 4. I'm not saying that there wouldn't maybe be a possibility down the road, but until the budget is certainly voted and completed, we wouldn't even consider that. And quite frankly, given the numbers, I'm not sure they'd even, if we knew that right this minute, we could take any students at school choice. I'm going to go grade by grade if it just make it simpler for everyone here. But when I speak, I'm going to speak about the class, so rising. So if I say 5th grade, it's next year's 5th grade. And I will start with the 5th grade. So the class of next year's 5th grade, which is the class of 31, we'll be able to take 0 students at that grade. That's one of our largest grades currently. The 6th grade, which is the class of 2030, we will have 5 seats available there. 7th grade, which is the class of 2029, there is the, I want to make sure I got this right, because they'll become 7th graders. The rising class, right, the rising class of grades is 10. The 8th grade class of 28 is 2. 9th grade, which is the class of 27, is 10. The 10th grade, which is the class of 26, 10. The 11th grade, which is the class of 25, is 5. And the senior class of 24 is 5.
So I just want to make sure I repeat this back.
Sure. Yep, I'm going to make sure that I did it right too, actually, yeah.
So I have grade 6, rising grade 6 is 5 students.
Yep.
7 is 10 students.
Yes.
Grade 8 is 2 students.
Yes.
Grade 9 is 10 students.
Yes.
Grade 10 is 10 students.
Yes.
Grade 11 is 5 students.
Yes.
And 12th grade is 5 students.
Yes.
So just as a reminder as to how it goes from here, should we vote to approve these seats, then parents can submit via the website. Is that correct?
So on our website, we have a Google Doc that has been live since I think December, January. People have inputted their information, with all the pertinent information about their child. If the vote is favorable, then Susan will actually reach out to those folks whom, as long as there's not more folks that we have seats for, and in that event we'll have a lottery. But for example, 7th grade has only 2 current applicants in the 7th grade. Well, we know that we have 10, so we can simply just call them and say, if you are, we can do that. I'm just using that as the example. So that's how we'll do that. Yes, it's on the web. It's based on the website. People have been submitting away since, I don't know, December, January, and but where there is no conflict in terms of number of seats versus applicants, we will just simply notify them.
So, to that effect, I would entertain a motion to approve the school choice openings as recommended for the 2023-2024 school year.
It's actually 5. So, no, but I would just say it's actually, it just, in grade 5, yeah.
Just to clarify the question, these are for all the grades, so it is, it's a total of 47, we could accept 47?
We
Is that
could.
what we're thinking?
We could.
All right, so we're opening up.
Right.
And then we'll see where it goes.
That's right. I would suggest that, although there are some, there's availability, that just to make sure that we are making sure that we're not overpopulating classes at the middle and high school, which is obviously one of our concerns, is that this is generally far below the number that we've normally taken, or to that extent, right? So, but to your point, yes.
That's what I was gonna ask too, Jeff's question. I know we've talked a lot about the numbers and for terms of like the high school is almost busting at the seams. But
Right.
And I'm sure, you know, you really look at this, I just wanna make sure that we're not putting more on the teachers in high school. That, you know, we're gonna add some things to our budget, away, so I just wanna make sure that we're not, you know.
Well, I think that, again, parlaying on a conversation that we've had in the past, that is absolutely a point well taken. And given our need to support school choice, which we've talked about during the budget meetings, we do have this, I guess, unfortunate need to keep a certain number. I would absolutely echo, support the fact that at the high school, at certain levels, so in other words, again, 5 at the junior level is not going to, right, that's not an issue. The 5 at the senior, I mean, you're only talking about 67 students, say, in the current 11th grade, if my glasses are right, sorry, 68. But the fact is that is not overwhelming. Where I think the conversation could go is that in the rising 10th grade, you have 96 kids in class of 25. Sorry, the rising juniors, right? The rising juniors, right? You have 90 some odd kids. We generally have 100 kids, a little over, per grade at the high school. That's our goal. Our goal is to keep around 100 kids at the high school level of grades, right? The 8th grade will absolutely have room because of Monty Tech. So when I look at the current 8th grade, the class of 27, you're talking about 128 kids. That's one of the largest classes we have. We already know that we're going to lose at least 15 kids to Monty Tech. That at bare minimum, we generally lose close to 22 because some kids are here school choice in the 8th grade. They're here school choice. They've been accepted into Monty Tech. They belong to another district, and they go. So in other words, but we know that they're going to take at least 15 to 18 kids from either Templeton or Phillipston. All right, so we feel very good about the rising 9th grade because we're going to lose that many kids. Okay, so in any event, yes, to your point that if, with the exception of the 9th grade, that's something for you to discuss. I would say to you that we'd have to, this number was built on the number of kids that we project to lose just because of graduation, because there are currently 13 seniors. I'm getting old. There are 13 seniors who are school choiced. We know how many kids are school choiced in the 8th grade. We just don't know how many of them will be accepted into Monty Tech. So that's always so we like to shoot around, 30 some odd kids, give or take.
Any additional questions or comments related to school choice? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. steps about it, and then they have an opportunity to visit their physical space, whether it's their classrooms or office spaces, and run through a checklist of items to really assess what's in the physical space. Or hopefully the out here to understand, how might I have access to the classroom, things like that. They have a chance to go through a series of questions, and then they have a chance to go to a new space and run through the same process to really assess physical space they work in or maybe didn't use today. We had all staff here for that. We had cafeteria staff, and staff, retired staff, which was great. After they had a chance to do that, we moved to a tabletop activity with scenario, real life scenario, so they had a chance to practice making decisions with information in real time, and then what would happen if we got additional information later, how might that adjust your plan for the future. So we received the feedback from teachers that we had fantastic point, very positive feedback from our teachers and staff really into aligning really well with our plan and focus on safety. And they had some questions about the physical space, things that need to be updated. So it was great experience to learn where we might need to update or consider some additional safety equipment for the classroom. This is going to continue to our May with staff, and what we're going to do in May, we're still ironing out the details of that, but we are continuing to have conversations around additional scenarios, some stipulations and drills with staff during that meeting. So we'll be working with the law enforcement folks as well as the on that. And the long-term goal with this is to have after each drill scenarios next year with all staff members so that we can prepare. Same thing we do fire drills or other types of All right, surplus items, I don't think we have any this week, and so we will move on to the superintendent evaluation. I do know that we got an update this morning that we have the goals in our email, which is wonderful. I don't think anyone has had time to absorb or look at those yet, but is there anything either you wish to say about the document in advance of folks getting a chance to dive in and read through the materials we provided?
I would think the only, and I would certainly defer also to to Molly, any comments that she may have, but these are aligned as we have for the past couple of years, aligned with our district improvement plan, the goals, the focus indicators, et cetera. The action steps, of course, are outlined in a sense in our improvement plan. These are written more like goals than measurable, as you will see. And quite frankly, we know that I had some issues getting all this together, and I thank Molly for helping me do that. So realizing that you only received it this morning or this afternoon, and I think to stay on track, next meeting, which is actually next week, is fine. It's currently, we're right on track. Yeah. Yeah. Do you have anything, Molly? I don't know if there's anything more to.
That second column are the letters that you see the standards and the indicators that are in the state rubric, so that's a link to what we do the priority or focus on next, what is the goal, and then the link above that, we want the full document to have what those are.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we had a week off last week, so there was one less week to gather any wonderful news. But I would say that, spring has certainly sprung. Our facilities folks, ground crews, et cetera, have been very busy keeping the fields, getting them prepared, dodging the rain, et cetera. And so a lot of great work has gone into, certainly the back of the facility. Well, once things start to warm up a little bit more, you'll start seeing more action in the front as well in terms of beautification, et cetera. So as folks know, part of one of the goals of the improvement plan, or the district improvement plan, as well as my goals, is to improve the communication and to really communicate in many fashions possible, using every possible way to communicate to make sure that folks have the opportunity to be involved in the district, to understand what's going on, to be able to ask questions. So we've been really thinking about how we want to do these superintendent coffees, and we've done them the traditional way, where there's literally coffee and the superintendent, and people come or they don't come. As we know, our survey was pretty weighted, that they want to meet in person, they wanted to meet at night. The topics, of course, were laid out in terms of what the community felt was the important things wanted to be discussed. Safety was number one. So we're still going to do the live version of the superintendent coffee, but what we decided to do is create an opportunity for folks to get a preview of the conversation, because we felt that sometimes when folks came in, it was kind of a cold start, right? You don't really know what to ask, and then they go, oh geez, I wish I would have asked that, or and you know how that goes, you get warmed up. So what we decided to do, and we have done, is we're gonna do this, I think, more than just a few times, but we created a podcast. That's right. NRSD has just catapulted into the 23rd century, honestly. We, with the help of Jared Prine, who's our technology director, he actually runs a few of his own podcasts. We had our very first podcast on Tuesday, and the topic was physical and emotional safety, the safety of the district. Ms. Ashley Niggle, who you are familiar with, and Jared Prine, and I discussed topics that range from brick and mortar security, which folks relate to doors and cameras and fobs, etc., which is important, and being emotionally safe, right? And making sure that you are physically and emotionally ready to come to school, feel comfortable coming to school. If things don't feel well, what do you do? What services we provide? So it's about 20 minutes. I'm sorry? 30, okay. 32 minutes of riveting, worth every minute. And so what that really is meant to do, and it's already have been uploaded to our website, and there's a link that you can listen. But we're hopeful just to start the conversations in that way, and then of course we'll have the traditional opportunity to come in and talk, and we'll certainly point folks to the podcast to listen to what we had to say about such things, and maybe that'll help just start the conversation sooner, etc. Next, our next podcast, and we have voluntold Sergeant Fliss that he will be on the podcast, but that really kind of rounds out really the entire trifecta of what we do and how we keep or try to keep everyone safe, and the SRO is a big part of that. and we'll talk about what role SRO plays, and certainly talk more about Alice and Alice drills, and where they fit in our curriculum, or just in our day-to-day planning of things. And so we'll do that. We'll do that sometime in May, and of course upload it. So we're trying something a little bit different, and we're hopeful that it certainly is appealing to some. I'm sure we'll get feedback, and we'll absolutely look for feedback, and we'll ask for feedback, and what should we do better? What can we do better? We didn't do a video, right? It wasn't a video podcast, right? We went back and forth on that, so it's just just our lovely voices. So we'll 32 minutes of wonderfulness, and so please, when you have a sec, if you have a chance, take a listen to it while you're driving, or I don't know, doing whatever you do. Yeah. Can you do that from so we have a trailer and everything? So see, no, listen. So we have vaulted into the 21st, 22nd, 23rd century. So there we are. And so
I actually just texted Jared saying. Oh, okay.
Oh, my fault. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. So we'll post it tonight. Sorry about that. I thought it was posted already. My fault. So we'll see. And we've already planned to talk with some seniors before they leave for the June podcast. And so we have some plans, and we'll see how it goes. Got some wonderful news today. I don't usually get wonderful news, but we did. I received a text from Representative John Zlotnick, who, if you remember, the contingent came out last spring to take a look at our wood chip boiler and the work that we have done with our ventilation and HVAC, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And there are some things that we still need to do. Although our maintenance folks have done a wonderful job, making sure that the actuators and all the things that, we were really worried about during COVID were working, and we had good airflow, et cetera. So he asked us back then, or they asked us back then, what would it cost to finish, just completely finish upgrading the HVAC? And if you remember, it was somewhere around the area of about $200,000 at that time, right? And he tried real hard last year to get it into the supplemental budget, and couldn't. But he vowed to continue to try. And so he sent me a text today to let us know that we're receiving $50,000 to continue our work upgrading our HVAC system. And so, that's just really, really great stuff, and it of course benefits everybody that's in this building. So that's a great use of money, right? When you think about it, right? When you spend money that literally every human being can benefit from, it's worth every dollar and then some. So he apologized for not getting more. As I told him, we'll take whatever and we really appreciate their advocacy on those areas. So that was fantastic news to receive today. Out of the blue. So other than that, I think the only thing I would say is that we're still moving along with the field renovation project. We're still in the beginning stages, getting ready to post an RFP for the lower field. We've had some folks come out and do I think they canceled, but we have a walkthrough scheduled, and so I'll keep updating folks on that. And I think that's all I have.
Can you just tell me, thanks, that's wonderful opportunity for our school district. We will always say yes.
we'll start with, okay, the senior PDF. Is there yet? Okay, I'm not too well. So before you, there, obviously in the agenda, we have the senior events listed. And I'm just trying to make sure I have the right, this is the only document, correct? There's two there. I just want to make sure I got the right one. Oh, it's the same one, okay. So as we've done in the past, certainly around the senior events, you know, we want to make sure that the committee is aware of what's going on. Those 2 very busy, or 3 or 4 or 5, seems like 100 busy weeks. But we'll take any questions or regarding the calendar.
Some of these events, if you want to attend them, I think you can online links. There's some different RSVP for headcounts and such, but they're definitely, especially the evolution. If you, still feel like you have any shoes on, they're very touchy to go to the award ceremonies and such.
Bless you.
Heather. I had a very fun morning over at the elementary school with my role with the PTO. We had a pet project that was a combined effort with our music teacher, with McCann, and PTO. This is our second year in a row we were able to bring a great cultural program into the school. So we invited our friends from Crocodile River Music back again this year. And thanks to funding from the Massachusetts Stars Cultural Council's grant, Stars grant, and also both of our local cultural councils, both Wilson and Templeton, and again, with some money from the PTO, we were able to put together a large residency program. Today we kicked it off with a concert. And when I say a concert, the size of our school, we need to actually split it in half, and do half the school in the first section, and then the second half of the school in the next section. So we had a live concert with our African music friends from the river. They have live drumming, dancing. It was a great event. They never disappoint. My favorite part is always when they start pulling kids to get up and dance with them. Last year we did dance workshops, so it was great because you could tell, especially the 4th graders, there were some who remembered pieces of the dance, or at least with a very quick demonstration they were able to recreate what they learned last year. So as I said, that kicked off the event next week, Monday through Friday, during every student's art block. They will actually be having an art lesson. They will be making some African art block with our cultural friends. And in addition, during their music block, in Mrs. McCann's room, they will be getting lessons on African drumming. So it's a great event.
And having a kindergartner and a 4th grader who really enjoyed those events today.
I watched them, they did smile. Except when I waved at them, they scowled at me, but that's okay. They don't know me.
Well, thank you very much for all the work that went into that. Thank you to the elementary school for hosting such a wonderful event.
Any other school comments?
Just mention one of the events coming up that's near and dear to my heart on that day is the Special Olympics. It's a new venue this year.
It is, and we've had a bit of a, yeah. So in our haste, to get this all moving forward, it came to us today, like very suddenly, Susan, that that is on the same day as our Memorial Day program, which, as if anyone has been here more than 10 minutes knows, that is a big day here in Narragansett. So we are trying to thread the needle of exactly how and who and what, and so we're trying very hard to, because there's some kids who just really, really want to go. Of course, it's one of my favorite days ever. I could say that on a personal and professional level. So we're trying to figure out that, and it might be a little bit, it might look a little bit different, say, at the elementary level. We got to figure some things out. We're going to have to contact and talk to some parents. I'm looking at Susan because this literally was one of the things late this afternoon that we're like, oh yeah, Memorial Day, yeah, oh yeah. So we are working as hard as we can to make sure that we can make it all happen, so. More to come.
Well, I did want to make sure I recognize that today is Administrative Professionals Day. So I in particular want to thank Ms. Barney for everything that she does for our school and for our community, but also to extend our thanks to all the administrative professionals across our schools. Schools literally could not be done without the work that you do. So Any second by Heather. Any questions, comments, or any wish to make amendments, or are you comfortable with pushing the second? So your motion would be to withhold the A from approvals. Second. Second by Sean. All in favor, and we will roll call for an amendment? Okay. Sean? Heather? Yes. Jeff?
Yes.
And I say yes, so that is unanimous. And now we will amend the original motion. So just okay, and so we're good. Everything else is approved with that? All right. We're running as we go, folks. That's what we do. NDA will so just to recap, we have now approved all second readings with the exception of DA, which will go back to the policy committee for discussion. Long-term plan.
We're on an every other month schedule, so we actually meet every other May.
And Susan, any correspondence? All right, so our next meeting is scheduled for next Wednesday, May 3rd, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. And I believe we do need to go into executive session.
Yes.
So we will enter executive session as per MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A, reason number 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation in the USCW and or the NTEA, if the open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, as the chair so declares that it is not return to open session in the following. I would entertain a motion to enter into executive session as declared. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained?
Roll call.
Roll call, sorry.